notice I've got a training pistol with me today, and I want you to see this. This is a semi-automatic redesign, if you will, which is really the popular guns that are out on the street. And the way these guns operate, I carried one for a long time as part of the Air Marshal Service when I was a pilot, and because of that, I got pretty familiar with it, and I learned how to shoot it. I can't say that I was a great shot, but I practiced probably more than your average people do that are on the street. But the way it works, it puts a magazine here underneath it, and when the magazine goes in loaded, you pull back the slide and you put a weapon, a bullet up into the chamber, and that's how it's now loaded and armed and ready to shoot. So a semi-automatic weapon, when you shoot, every time you go squeeze, you go boom, 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 and that's how it works. And every time you go boom, the slide will come back and eject a bullet, and another bullet goes up into it. Well, did you know that you can actually grab a weapon with a bullet in the chamber, someone can squeeze the trigger, it will go boom one time, and then it's called out of battery and it won't work anymore. And the reason for that is that the bullet that was supposed to get in the chamber can't get in there because the one that was in there can't get out, and they jam each other up and it breaks the pistol, at least until you clear it. So grabbing a pistol can actually put it out of battery and keep it from working. I just want you to understand that. But let me talk a little bit more about some of the myths of handguns. Right now, handguns are considered I call them the weapons of mass destruction. The games that are being played and the movies that are being shown, nobody ever reloads, nobody ever misses. They shoot, and it's just, it's easy to kill lots of people. What I'm getting ready to talk about is not what an active shooter might do in a room where people are scared and they don't move. We have a whole video series, a video on active shooters and how to respond to that. But handguns themselves, they're easy to conceal, hard to shoot accurately, easy to pull the trigger. So now what does that mean? Well, in our training, we learned, and I had to shoot every 6 months in tactical situations, that between 0 and 6 feet, and this is from the Department of Defense and the information they've gathered from 13 years of fighting wars. But between 0 to 6 feet, you'll miss about 30% of your shots. 3 out of 10 shots at someone you're aiming at, you'll miss. Once you go from 6 feet to 12 feet, you miss about 7 out of 10 times, 70% of your shots. And that's stunning to me, and that's someone that's in a controlled situation. Now let's talk about the shooter that comes in or someone that tries to take your things. We tell people all the time, you never trade your life for things. Give up your iPad. Young people, give up your phones. Give up the keys to the car that your parents just gave you. Give all that up. Don't fight for that. Those are just things. That's not your life. You never trade your life for that. However, if they say, you're coming with me, then that's a different scenario. And we're going to give some tips on how to get away from a handgun, but most importantly, I want you to understand guns. They're hard to shoot. They're not very accurate outside of 12 feet. It takes about 0.025 seconds to go from the brain to the trigger finger, about a quarter of a second. So with that being said, there's a lot of things you can do in a lot of space that you can separate from. So I want you to understand guns are deadly, but they poke holes. The people that are hurt in active shooter scenarios are usually shot in the head at point blank range. I'm telling you that if I'm faced with a handgun, space is my friend, separation is my friend. I might get shot, but I'll probably get medical attention if I'm in a public area. If you go to a second location, let's talk about that. In fact, there's 2 statistics I want to talk about. The Department of Defense will tell you that about 85% of all handgun wounds are survivable, and that's from their battle tested and what they've done on the actual battlefield. However, if you go to a second location, and we talk about this all the time, if you're moved to a second location with a handgun or another weapon, there's a 90% chance that day you won't survive. So I look at those statistics. I have a 85% survival rate versus a 10% survival rate if I go with them. So I'm going to take my chances against a gun. I know they're hard to shoot. I know they poke holes. I know that they have to a vital point in order to kill you. So I just wanted you to understand the myths of handguns. They're not like rifles. Rifles can be very deadly. They don't have unlimited rounds. They have to be reloaded. So those are important things to understand about guns. This tip is talking about how to get away from a handgun. You know, we've talked about the myths of handguns and the difficulty of shooting them accurately. This one we want to talk about if someone tries to abduct you. Remember, you cannot go, and it's real important that I re-emphasize that. Even with the gun out, you cannot go. So one of the things that we talk about, Julie, is that once I put the gun on you, you start getting loud. You put your hands at the same level as the gun, and then I want you to start asking me questions. And when I have to process, because I can't process your question and pull the trigger at the same time. And remember, I want you. If I wanted you dead, I would go boom. If I want you, more than likely, if you're being abducted, it's probably because they want you sexually. And so I think it's important to understand that they don't want you dead here. They want you dead probably somewhere else, but not here. And plus the fact you might get help here. You won't get it in the back of some country road county. You ready for this? So I'm going to put the gun on you, and I'm going to be loud, but I want you to respond to this, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, come with me.
What do you want?
I want you with me.
What do you want?
I want you to come
Which
with me.
Which vehicle's yours?
What do you mean, what? Hey! Very good. I like the way you did that. So she ran off the camera, but I wanted you to understand is that I knew she was going to hit me, but as soon as my gun redirected about 180 degrees away from the way she went, I had to make a decision. And can I turn and shoot? Do I want to shoot? She's running. She was about 18 feet away by the time I turned and looked at her, and that's important to understand. So you can get away from a handgun. You just don't want to go to that second location. Give them your keys, give them your iPad, give them your phone. Don't give them your life, because you can't be replaced.